Have you been shopping and you picked up a product and looked at the ingredient list and saw sorbic acid at the end and wondered what is it? Today, I'm going to tell you what it is, where it's from, how it's made, and if you should be eating it or not. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. I am the co-owner and co-founder of Slow Foods Kitchen, where we help you live a more plant-based life. You can find all of our goodies. I will link those below in the description box, and I also have a freebie down there, so head down to the description box to get your goodies. As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please do subscribe. If you're new here, I'd love for you to join our community, and if you've already subscribed, thanks so much. It really does support our channel. Today we are talking about sorbic acid. What is it? How is it made? Where it's from? Is it safe to eat or not? So let's dig in. Sorbic acid is a naturally occurring compound. It's derived from the young berries of the rowan plant. And when you derive this ingredient, add it to foods like cookies, cheeses, things like that, bread, it will preserve the life of the item. So this food preservative will preserve the food by inhibiting the growth of mold and bacteria. So this is great. It is one of the most popular food preservatives throughout the world because now we can make bread and cookies, preserve it, and ship it across the country or the world. Sounds great, right? Part of the issue with food preservatives like sorbic acid and others is that it preserves the food by killing and inhibiting the growth of all bacteria. So that means even the good bacteria that we want to grow within our gut can be destroyed. Sorbic acid is a preferred food preservative over other choices like nitrates because those have actually been linked to being carcinogenic and causing cancer. So if you have to pick one, let's go with sorbic acid. But let's talk more about it. So yes, it is a food preservative. It does come from a plant, so it is natural. However, nowadays, most often sorbic acid is synthetically derived, so now we have an artificial food preservative. Preserving our food, of course, is not terrible. I love sauerkraut. I love kombucha, things like that, kimchi. All of these foods are naturally preserved, even jams. So salt and acid and sugar is preserving our food. So sorbic acid is doing the same thing. The acid within the ingredient is taking away the environment that bacteria needs to grow. Salts of sorbic acid, which are sorbates, are also derived from sorbic acid to create other food preservatives like calcium sorbate, potassium sorbate, and sodium sorbate. We are going to talk about more on these in another video because some of those really are bad for our health, but today we're focusing on sorbic acid. So where can you find sorbic acid? You can find it in meats, cheeses, bread, cookies. Many items contain this food preservative. It is mostly found in our food, animal foods, pharmaceuticals, and even cosmetics to extend the shelf life and keep bad bacteria from forming because things like botulism are real, and if we have food that is spoiled and eat it, we could potentially become very ill or worse, and we don't want that. Really, the big question is sorbic acid safe? Yes, it is safe, and I'm not telling you that you shouldn't eat it. If you don't want to eat it, then don't consume it, and if you do consume it, it's not the end of the world. Most people have no issue with consuming sorbic acid, and they have no effects experienced from eating a cookie with food preservative, particularly sorbic acid in it. For some people though, in rare situations, sorbic acid can cause allergic symptoms or pseudo-allergic symptoms. When you have a pseudo-allergy, you have all the symptoms of the allergy like itching or scratching, but your body does not produce the antibodies in that situation. If you are consuming sorbic acid and you notice maybe your skin is itchy or you don't feel so great, you can rinse the area with water or drink 8 to 10 ounces of water, and that will help get the sorbic acid out of your system quicker, and so you will stop experiencing those reactions. Now, some of us may never have any reactions. You can consume 10 milligrams per pound of body weight safely. 10 milligrams is a teeny tiny amount, and when these foods are created with sorbic acid, it only takes a little bit to preserve the food. So you may not experience any symptoms at all, which is great. But if you are experiencing some reactions after you eat a particular food, or notice that whenever you have margarine or butter, or notice that you are consuming foods with sorbic acid and having reactions, go for a few days or a week without that and add it back into your diet and see if it's a problem. So really, sorbic acid is not that bad for you. It is a food preservative, and so it can affect your gut health as well. But all in all, it is not terrible. So it's up to you to decide if you want to avoid it altogether, not worry about it, or maybe you just consume it in moderation. Because as we know, knowing is half the battle. So all in all, this food additive is not that bad for you. The real issue that I see is because it is in so many foods that we consume on a regular basis, that even if you have a little bit in your cookie, and you have a little bit in your coffee creamer, and you have a little bit in your cheese, and a little bit in your wine, before you know it, you've had a lot. And so that's really the problem. So it's up to you to decide if you can consume it and have no negative reactions at all. That's great. It's totally up to you. If you start to consume it and you say, you know what, I had that cheese and I'm starting to get a headache, or I bought cheese that was organic and didn't have it, or I bought cheese without any food preservatives and had no issues, maybe you can start to link your reactions to it. And so if that's the case for you, then I would suggest you either eliminate it or avoid it as much as possible, which is difficult because it is in many of our foods. So really, it's our job to at least know what's happening, and then it's up to you to decide, you know what, I just can't have it. It affects my health negatively. Or you think, it's not that bad, give me the cookie once in a while. Or you're like, you know what, I have no negative reactions, which is awesome. So it's totally up to you. So in all, not a terrible food additive. It is a food preservative, so that makes me a little leery. But really knowing is what I think is most important. So now that you know the information on sorbic acid, it's up to you to make the decision. Yes, I want to keep eating it. No, I totally want to avoid it. Or yes, I really like this product. Let me try and find it without this ingredient in it. Thanks so much for joining me for today's video. In our upcoming videos, we are going to talk about the salts of sorbic acid, the sorbates, and how those can be potentially harmful for our health. So stay tuned, and I'll see you back here, right here on my YouTube channel, talking about all this good stuff. Have a great weekend. See you next Friday.